Wildfires have been popping up all across Texas. Most recently in Walker County, the game preserve fire burned more than 4,000 acres. Giving these fires names helps to identify them and help the public understand which wildfire we're all talking about, much like hurricanes or winter storms. But unlike hurricanes or winter storms, wildfire names don't come from a list. Here to tell us more about how some of these interesting names have come about and where they get their start is Erin O'Connor from the Texas A&M Forest Service. Erin, thank you so much for taking some time to talk with us today.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Okay, what is the history of naming wildfires? We know hurricanes, they're named in order of the alphabet, much like winter storms, but how did this process of naming wildfires begin?
Yeah, so it's certainly not as strict as like when tropical storms or hurricanes get named. Wildfires typically are named by the first responder, the incident commander, the dispatcher, the person that's kind of first on scene. And they usually base that name off of a geographic location or a landmark near the origin of that fire.
So really, it is the whim of one person that names these wildfires?
That's exactly right.
You mentioned that landmarks or nearby geographic features, does the time of year play into how some of these wildfires are named?
Sometimes it certainly can. Again, you'll find a lot of our fire names are typically related to that area of the state, or they're named after a creek bed or some kind of landmark. But you will find that when we're busy, sometimes our incident commanders or our firefighters will just make a list of maybe a topic they're interested in, animals, like you said, seasons or time of year, and they might just go down the list as they respond to fires.
Now, we know that oftentimes, the A&M Forest Service gets called in after, local control has been lost, right? Or local firefighters, it's too overwhelming for local firefighters. When you guys get involved, is that when the fire gets named?
It depends, definitely. So usually those local fire departments will name that fire. But if it hasn't been named when they request assistance, then we can do that for them, or in coordination with them.
We know that there are often, you said the landmarks, the animals, whatever it is. Is there anything that's off limits in terms of naming a wildfire?
Yeah, absolutely. So we definitely want to be sensitive. Even though sometimes they can come across a little silly, wildfires are not to be taken lightly. So we definitely avoid naming it after a person. Private property, companies, businesses, things like that. We avoid including words like dead man, dead in general. We also don't name them after other catastrophic events. So we try to avoid things and be a little bit sensitive when we're naming fires.
Is there anything else that people should know about wildfire names?
Yeah, so in the state of Texas, you'll see sometimes that a fire name is like a county name and a number, and those are typically our East Texas wildfires. And so in East Texas, we have more frequent wildfires, and they're also a lot smaller than you'll see maybe in West Texas or the Panhandle. So we don't usually name all of them, and that is simply, again, just because of how frequent they occur. When a wildfire in East Texas grows to more than 100 acres, then we do typically name it. But that county name and the number, that's simply just an auto-generated number. So we tend to get a lot of questions surrounding that one.
Can you tell us the difference between when a fire becomes a complex fire? I know we heard that a lot last year, especially with the Eastland complex fire. What makes it a complex fire?
Yeah, so a complex is when you have two or more wildfires burning in a geographic area. So it could be due to proximity, but also it's easier for fire managers if they have resources responding in the area. They can manage all of those kind of as one. So we will complex wildfires together if they're close enough, or again, if you have one like team or fire manager that is managing all of those fires.
Very good. Erin O'Connor from the Texas A&M Forest Service, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much.